Democratic candidate Hillary Clinton admitting to the Daily News editorial board that her tax proposal will increase taxes by a lot. So you just heard that in that interview. The plan is to tax the American people by at least $1 trillion over the next 10 years. Most of that comes from the upper middle class and the rich, also businesses. She plans to raise taxes by implementing the Buffett rule. That means anyone making over $1 million a year will face at least a 30% tax rate. Increases to top estates tax rate 45%, eliminating certain deductions, and a 4% surtax on incomes over $5 million. Former Reagan economic advisor, director, with me now, Art Laffer. So, Art, the Tax Policy Center, nonpartisan think tank, saying this plan would essentially reduce incentives to work, save, and invest. Do you agree?
Yes, of course it would, and it wouldn't raise the money she plans. I mean, what you'll find is exactly what happens, Deirdre. Whenever you raise tax rates on the rich, they pay less in taxes, not more, and the economy goes to the floor. And that is exactly what will happen with Hillary Clinton's plan if she tried to do it. And it makes no sense whatsoever. It's even worse than Obama, if you can believe it. And that's hard to do.
I was just going to say, many people are laughing, Art, but it's a point worth making. Also, this idea of debt-free tuition being a worthy societal goal. I mean, I personally feel bad for kids who are graduating with tons of debt. It is hard to find jobs. But the question is that society's problem to fix?
No. Of course not. These kids go to school. Whatever they do at school, they should be getting skills that allow them to get jobs if they want them. But a lot of these people don't go to work afterwards, and that's fine, too. But there's no reason why you should pay for them going to college so they won't use that in a job. And you should make sure you don't want to have them go into professions that don't have economic results afterwards. You know, college is a business. And it is a business for the customers and for the universities, and no one should have to pay for someone else's college. It should pay for itself with future earnings, and that's not what's happening in our country. It's just not.
No, and we recently covered this, but something like 40% of graduates are actually just not paying back their debt, which is the largest amount of debt in this country, aside from mortgage debt. I want to ask you about a linked idea, Art, if you don't mind, because the IMF is issuing this warning about the socialist country of Venezuela. The organization projecting inflation there starting at 481% this year and more than 1,500% in 2017. So unemployment could go as high as 17% this year, close to 21% next year. I mean, you know this, but as a contextual point, the only level we had like that in the U.S. was during the Great Depression in the 30s. As high as 25%. But are there cautionary tales? I mean, Venezuela is an extreme example, but there is a socialist mentality that is being embraced by at least one candidate in this race.
Yeah, and this is Christmas future for that one. I mean, if we decide to follow the Venezuelan model, with Bernie Sanders or with Hillary Light, I mean, Hillary's not much better. If we decide to do that, we will end up as Venezuela. Believe me when I tell you that. You know, we've had a horrible economy for 15 years because of W and Obama, and now we want to double down and do it twice as much? I don't think so. It will turn out to be Venezuela, and that is not what Americans want. But people deserve the governments they get. Yeah. And they vote for, Deirdre. And frankly, if people want Bernie Sanders, God bless them. I'll be fine.
Yeah, but it's scary from an economic perspective, and then I think we'd all be fools to think that there will not be huge social unrest in Venezuela, and the same risk here. Art Laffer, thank you so much.
Well, there always is. I mean, you know, but the social unrest comes from the very people who will bear the consequences of these awful policies.
Yeah, point well made, indeed.
Students
thank you.
And inner cities. Thank you, Deirdre. Thanks.
Good to see you, Art. Art Laffer with us there.